Should I trust them? Ooh. Yeah? I nod at Waltz. He steps out of the curtains and raises his hands in surrender. Forgive me, Your Majesty. I know you. You were Hilder's apprentice, Waltz, was it? I remember that Waltz had worked for Mother, so naturally the king would know who he was. It's been a while, Your Majesty. I'm honored you still remember me. You haven't changed. Not at all. So Hilder really did curse you for betraying her. Betraying her? Betraying her how? The king places his sword back in its scabbard. I have no idea what you're doing here now, but... The king surprises us both by getting down on one knee and bowing to Waltz. Your Majesty, you shouldn't... I was never able to thank you after the war. So, thank you. You did so much for our kingdom, Waltz. So, thank you. We owe you our lives. If only all witches were as good as you. The king stands once again, his posture stiff and straight. There are more of us than you think, Your Majesty. I'm lost. What are they talking about? But I didn't do it for the kingdom. Waltz turns to look at me suddenly, a small smile on his face. I did it for her. Her? Who are you talking about? Waltz nods his head at me. It's alright, Lisette. I slide out of my hiding place and stand in front of the king. It has been months since I last saw him. The king's eyes widen as he looks at me. You're the girl from the gates. You remember me? It is more like I find it impossible to forget about you. What? I have a lot of questions for the two of you, but the most important thing is why you are both in this room. Regardless of the fact that I know you, Waltz, you have still broken into the palace. We would not have done it if we did not have to. I steel myself for further scolding when the king turns to look at me. That box you are holding, we needed to break Waltz's curse. How did you come to have it, Your Majesty? The king looks down at the box as if only noticing it for the first time. I was in this room the other day and noticed a chip on the side of the box. I took it to get it fixed. A chip? I did drop it once in a while back, but did not think it'd get fixed myself. Why would you do that? The king looks around the room, a faraway look in his eyes. This room is special to me, though I don't know why. I feel like this room and I are both waiting for someone to return, and everything must be perfect for when they do. I feel my chest tighten even as the king huffs out a derisive laugh. What am I saying? He cannot miss me when he does not remember me. He can't. Right? But if this box is all that you require, Waltz, you may have it. It is the least I can do after all that you have done for us. The king holds out the box to Waltz, who reaches out to take it. Thank you, Your Majesty. Look who we have here. It's Mithros. Or Varg. We all freeze at the sound of the new voice. I turn and find an all too familiar figure leaning against the doorway, a mischievous grin on his face. What a sweet little reunion! That's the voice, right? Varg? Betrayals. That's a good mood for this one. This one? This one? I told you I'd come back for you, didn't I? What? Varg taps his cane on the floor, creating a shockwave of powerful energy that blasts us all across the room. The impact of the magic forces me against the wall. I collapse to my knees, pain thrumming in my head. The king collapses somewhere nearby, and I hear the crack of the box as it lands on the ground a few feet away from us. Waltz holds out his hand. I take it, and he helps me back to my feet. Lucette, are you alright? Yes. Lucette! The king looks at me quizzically, but his gaze does not linger. He looks toward Varg, his eyes narrowed. Did the king remember who I was? Your Majesty, are you hurt? The king shakes his head as Waltz, before turning his attention to Varg, his eyebrows furrowed. Who is this man? Your Majesty, this person is working for the Wicked Witches. What? Wait, what happened to Urian and Garland? They were just outside the door. What did you do to them? Varg cocks his head to the side. Who? The guards just outside the store. I'm sure that they must have hit themselves when they saw the king coming to this room, but they should have still been able to see Varg coming. Guards? I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about, Princess. Varg seems like he's telling the truth, but I cannot trust him. Please, let them be safe. I see Neverland a few feet from us. I can try to grab it, but Varg will probably thwart my attempt with magic. I have to wait for an opening. I'll distract them. While I do that, the both of you need to run. What? I eye Varg. He looks at the three of us with his lips slightly quirked, as if he's amused. This isn't the time to argue with me, Lucette. I nod at him. Waltz extends his hand and snaps his finger. Hundreds of flower petals suddenly appear in midair. It's as if we're in the middle of a storm of flowers. Varg looks startled. He squints through the flowers. You think this little parlor trick is going to save anyone? Go! Let's go! I grab the king's hand and pull him with me toward the door. Not so fast! Varg strikes his cane against the floor once more, conjuring a strong wind that blows all the petals away and clears the room. You know that I'm not letting you get away with this time, Princess. The king draws his sword and motions for us to stand behind him. Father! Oh shit. Oh shit. Father, his cane is enchanted. You cannot hold him with just a blade. Father? I'm at a loss of words. It has been a long time since I called him that. Much to my surprise, the king's lips pull into a soft smile. You said that at the gates that one day, when you were seeking an audience with me. I have not been able to forget that day. Before I can say anything in return, a familiarly smooth voice breaks the ensuing silence. Oh, I wonder where all those voices were coming from. Yup. A familiar man steps into the doorway. He inspects everyone in the room quietly. Mithros. Your Majesty. Quickly, summon the knights. We have an intruder in the palace. He gestures at Varg, who looks unperturbed. An intruder, you say? Sir Mithros turns to Varg. At first, his expression is impassive, but then slowly his lips begin to edge into a sly smile. You're such a ruffian, Varg. Look at all this property destruction. I can only gape at Sir Mithros in shock. If he knows Varg, then he's most certainly infuriated with the witches. You know this man. Explain yourself, Mithros. We are all thrown off guard by Sir Mithros' laughing. Sir Mithros is laughing. Soon, his laugh becomes a mad cackle. There is a strange brightness in his eyes, and that sends shivers down my spine. My apologies, Your Majesty. I am just amused at my servant's atrocious behavior. At ease, Varg. Sir Mithros gestures at Varg a silent command to lower his cane. Varg obeys him before moving to a corner of the room and leaning against the wall with disinterest. Don't worry, Your Majesty, you're not the one we're after. What? Sir Mithros turns a sly smile on me, and I instinctively take a step back. The princess is the lady we need to escort. Escort? Princess. This girl is a princess? That is correct. It is a shame you can't remember your own daughter, even though she stands right in front of you. Enough with your vagueness. Explain yourself. The king's grip on the hilt of his sword tightens. I am not obliged to explain everything to you. Try thinking on your own for a change, your majesty. Mithros! Sir Mithros ignores the king's outburst and turns his attention to Waltz. He visibly stiffens, and a sly smile contorts into a grimace. And look who we have here. I see that the traitor has returned to the palace. Waltz stares at him, puzzled. Looking puzzled, Sir Mithros tilts his head to the side and offers Waltz a lopsided smile. You still look the same as you did back then. I did not think it was possible for you to grow any weaker, Waltz Cresswell. Mithros. I see. Waltz suddenly looks melancholy as he stares at Sir Mithros. Waltz? What is going on? This man's real name is Myth, and he's a myth. Not a myth, he's a witch. Same as me. It appears that he has been using a powerful glamour to conceal his real identity. If I hadn't been cursed, I wouldn't have been able to tell right away. I would not give yourself so much credit, Cresswell. Waltz narrows his eyes but says nothing. I glance between the two of them, confused. But how do you know him? He secretly worked for your mother, practically worshipped her, and was the only other person who knew of his existence as a witch outside of the TV bear. A witch. I trusted you, Mithros. The king says the words through gritted teeth. Oh. What was that? Oh, that was a dryer. The king says the words through gritted teeth, his face contorted in anger. Sir Mithros flicks a wrist, and it is a dismissive gesture, and he still looks amused. What a hypocrite you are, your majesty. He eyes Waltz. You're willing to play nice with some witches, but not others. This bias is what drove us witches to madness in the first place. Sir Mithros faces the king with a grin. You human hypocrites are so easy to manipulate. It's pathetic. Mithros! The king charges toward Sir Mithros with his sword held high. Your Majesty, don't! And he explodes into 1,000 pieces. The king's sword never touches Sir Mithros. Sir Mithros only has to hold out his hand, and suddenly an invisible force pushes the king back. He crashes into one of my shelves, knocking down my dolls. Your Majesty! I quickly run to his side to help him up. Damn it. Okay, I got it. Dryer's done. Thank you, Dryer. I quickly run to his side to help him up. Thankfully, he does not seem to have any major injuries. To think there was a witch working in the palace the whole time. And not the good kind of witch either. I was too careless. Rejoice, your majesty. I still have more surprises for you. I will never forgive this betrayal, Mithros. Betrayal? I'm afraid you have played for a fool this entire time, your majesty. My loyalty has always been reserved for Lady Hilder and no one else. I can't imagine what you would hope to gain from all this. Hilder is long gone. Sir Mithros' eyes flash as he turns a severe glance on Waltz. His voice is seething with venom when he speaks. Had it not been for you, traitor, she would still be here. The king mentioned Waltz's betrayal. Sir Mithros called him a traitor. What exactly did Waltz do? Sir Mithros beckons me forward with a gesture of his hand. Now, if you please, princess, come with us if you don't want them to get hurt. Waltz immediately stands in front of me. I won't let you take her. In your current form, you don't stand a chance. I will make certain that you never break your curse, Waltz. The whole thing was a setup, a trap. I'm sorry, Waltz. This is my fault. No, it's mine. The reason we came was to break my curse. My eyes once again flipped to the box on the floor. Neverland is just a few steps away from me. Neverland! Waltz's eyes follow mine to the box. He leans back and whispers to me. You have to get the box and break my curse. I feel for the key inside my pocket. If Waltz's true magic is indeed sealed in that box, then releasing it might give us a chance at victory. And Mithras and Varg do not seem to have caught on the fact that the object that will break Waltz's curse is right there at their feet. Okay. The king moves to stand beside Waltz and draws his sword again, his body a shield. Your Majesty. I will not let you take this girl. You will have to go through me first. You can't do this. Lucette. I've always loved that name. I thought if I ever had a daughter, I would give her that name. Magic makes even the impossible possible. You must truly be my daughter. Yes? Tears start to blur my vision. Oh, how disgustingly touching. It seems as if I will just have to deal with you first. And the king explodes into 1,000 pieces. No! I rush toward the box at the same time Mithras casts his spell. Varg lunges toward me, his hands reaching for me. But he's too late. By the time he grabs me, I have already inserted the key into Neverland. I give it one definite twist and hear the click of the box as it opens up. White flashes through the room, blinding me. It's blinding me too! My eyes! Oh god! Where's my computer glasses? Suddenly I feel a strong arm around me, holding me tightly, protectively. When I open my eyes... When I open my eyes, it is Waltz I see. Even several years older, I still recognize him. I'm surprised his clothes still fit him. Waltz! Hey there, little star. Seems like the tide has turned, Myth. Waltz grins, and I see a confidence in his expression that I've never seen before. Sir Mithras' frown has only become more severe. Fool! I will show you that I was a favorite apprentice. Be careful not to hurt the princess, Mithras. Varg's voice is almost teasing, but Sir Mithras does not seem to care. I didn't plan on it. Sir Mithras gestures his hand in a sweeping gesture. The beginnings of a spell gather at his fingertips. Is it me, or does his hand look a little weird? Like a slightly disproportioned? Like his thumb's a little too large? And his middle finger is a little... I don't know, I guess it's the perspective. But it just feels weird, his hand. Waltz looks at me and smiles reassuringly. Now, when I say that I can protect you, Lucette, I definitely can. Waltz holds out his hand just before Sir Mithras' magic reaches us. An invisible barrier suddenly appears in front of us, thwarting Sir Mithras' magic. Seems like I'm not as rusty as I thought I would be. Waltz snaps his fingers and effortlessly creates a dark wave that pushes both Sir Mithras and Varg to the wall. Ugh! Let's go. What do we do now? The Order of Caldera. They are sworn to the Order of Caldera. They are sworn to an oath of protection. We can rely on them. Waltz glances down the hallway, his mouth drawn in a tight line. I see clear suspicion in his eyes. I look back at the king. The knights should have been here by now. Surely a commotion should have brought them running. Now I know why Waltz is staring down the hallway. He is searching for the knights that are meant to be passed through here. There is no possible way that they did not hear the skirmish in my bedroom. The three of us push onward. I stand between the king and Waltz, waiting. I am not entirely sure what I'm waiting for, but I can feel the tension in the air. We only stop moving when a voice cuts through the silence. Your Majesty,